Gone, I believe.
All right. Well, can you get in a little closer?
Who, me? You need me?
Yeah. Yeah. Ray too. Ray, you also. I can't get back far enough.
You want to slide over, make love to me. Then we should take this light out.
Make you another one. Willie got a mustache. Why you have a mustache?
Should we be in
It's no, leave that. It's okay.
It's okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see now. All right, go.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of the things we've been doing for the last couple of sessions, Duke, is to really get the Brooklyn history down, because, you know, we were discussing that Brooklyn made a major contribution to the modern school of music, you know, so we figured the time for us taking that for granted is over, you know. So one of the things, you played a major role in that whole modern school because you were with Charlie Parker, so we just figured we should start talking with you. Where were you born in Brooklyn?
I was born in Brooklyn Hospital. We were living on Wyckoff Street, South Brooklyn. And then we moved from there to 218 Grand Avenue, which was like 3 doors away from Pratt Institute.
Oh, yeah.
That's when they had the elevators running.
Right.
Lexington Avenue, you know, go down to, what was it, Navy, back up to Eastern Parkway and back and forth and back and forth. Yeah, so I grew up, I went to public school 69, which is on Ryerson Street, down from Willoughby Street, close between Myrtle and Willoughby on Ryerson Street.
Oh, yeah.
Public school, but it's not there anymore, of course. But I went to public school there, and then after that, I went to public school 45 on Clawson and DeKalb, and then from there I went to public school 3 on Hancock Street between Franklin and Spencer, time. And from there, I went to Brooklyn Automotive.
That's my school. I went to Automotive.
Yeah, Brooklyn Automotive. Bedford and Nassau, if I remember. And there, in that Brooklyn Automotive, they gave me a scholarship to music and art.
Oh.
But I mean, while I was in Brooklyn Automotive, I studied engines and body and fender repair. So really at that time, I had a few muscles going on. Yeah. Yeah, I know. And so I went over to with this so-called scholarship, but when I got there, they said I would have to pay $14 a lesson with the scholarship. And moms couldn't afford that, so I had to learn whatever I could learn, asking questions and watching and asking questions and watching.
Duke, don't I remember you had 2 brothers that played piano too, right?
Yeah, well, Frank, he is the oldest brother, and he played the violin first, and he played the piano after that.
I thought so, but I remember Frank.
During those days, my mother used to get me upstairs. Well, actually, when I was 8 years old, when we were living on Grand Avenue, there were some houses on either, they were connected, you know, row houses. And then going towards DeKalb Avenue, there was an open lot. And the young kids, the Greeks, the Jews, and us, we used to go in there and play stickball.
That was the game.
Yeah. Well, one day I was thinking I was going out. My mom said, "No, wait a minute. You're going to take lessons today." I'm 8 years old, and she found some man. I'll never forget his name, Mr. Cyrus. This son of a gun had a pencil about so long. I don't think they make pencils that long anymore. Anyway, he had a pencil that long, and he started teaching me. Of course, he was a very good teacher, but it was to me, too strict.
I see.
Every time I make a mistake, this son of a gun would crack me over the knuckles.
Oh, with the pencil?
8 years old, remember? Couple of times I got up and came down the stairs crying to my mother. My mother smacked me in the face and made me go back upstairs.
Oh, God.
So I had to,
Yeah, you.
I had to learn.
That's right.
All right. So, graduated with this scholarship. I went to Music and Art, and they told me I had to pay $17, man. My mom couldn't afford it. So I had to go around to the different clubs. I started playing parlor socials.
Uh-huh.
And I made a few bucks doing that. You know, somebody's giving a party. Hey, get that. You know,
Yeah.
and I'd play and I'd make a few bucks.
Oh, that's right. That's also
Yeah,
Friday night.
Yeah. Friday or Saturday. Yeah.
Night party.
That's right. Yeah. So from that, I started working as a body and fender repairman.
Uh-huh.
I did that for about 9 months, and one day I was working in a place on Putnam Avenue near Clawson. They had an automotive shop there. And I walked down Putnam Avenue, turned left, and went to Jefferson. That's where we lived, 357 Jefferson, right up between Tompkins and through.
Uh-huh.
Well, at that time, Clifford Batson was living on Putnam Avenue between Tompkins and Marcy.
Uh-huh.
And he had a brother that played the trombone. Forget his name. Anyway, this particular day, Clifford had note of me playing these parlor socials, and he was standing outside with a guy put him. So as I came from the job, Clifford said, hey, listen, hey, Duke, come here, man, I want you to meet somebody. And he introduced me to Steve Pulliam. And Steve Pulliam asked me to come in Clifford's house and play something from Honeysuckle Rose.
Uh-huh.
So I did that, and Steve Pulliam said, hey man, why don't you come on with our band? I got a little sextet going. At that time, Vert was playing the tenor saxophone. Jimmy Nottingham was playing the trumpet. Vincent something, Vincent Bearby?
Yeah, baby.
Playing alto. And Bubba,
Jones was.
no, not Jones, but anyway, Bubba something was playing the bass, and Charlie Hawkins was playing the drums.
Right.
Yeah, and I was playing the piano. Of course, was playing trombone.
Right.
So that went on for a while, and then they came in with the 1939 World's Fair.
Uh-huh.
So somehow.
That was the Manhattan Sextet, right?
Yeah. So somehow Steve Pulliam found out about this fair, and he got an invitation to join the competition for the small bands.
Uh-huh.
Tell me this. Why was it called the Manhattan Sextet when all the guys lived in Brooklyn?
They lived in Manhattan.
Oh. That makes sense.
Yeah. That band got to be pretty good. Really.
Yeah,
We
I
went out
remember
to the
that.
World's Fair and won the first prize for the. Ed Sullivan was the master of ceremonies.
Yeah, when you was getting ready to say, so you was in a little contest?
Yeah, it was a contest for small bands.
This is
And we went out there-
1939
Yeah,
World's
World's
Fair.
Fair, that's right.
Right.
Went out there and copied. That period of time went by, and I made a few gigs here and there, and somehow I got connected with Al Cooper. Al Cooper asked me to come over and audition with his band. Now, I don't know it at the time, but he's big name with that Savoy Sultans.
Right.
House band, Savoy Ballroom. So I go over, and he liked what he heard. Rudy Williams was in the band at the time.
Uh-huh.
I can't think of everybody's name. You know all the guys. Anyway, I went over and got that gig. Now, while I was there, being that the Savoy Sultans was the house band, I got a chance to meet all of the big band leaders.
Uh-huh.
Lucky Miller, Duke Ellington, Count Basie, Benny Goodman,
Erskine Hawk.
Erskine Hawkins, what's the rich white guy? Harry James. It was the other one.
Charlie Barnett.
Charlie Barnett.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a chance to be. Oh, cause they would come and go, come and go. So okay, that went on for a while. Then something happened, and Al Cooper said he was going back down to Florida because something was wrong. So that kind of broke the band up. And then I got the gig with this guitar player from Philadelphia, and that in the Three Deuces, and that is when Charlie Perker happened to be there and heard me and asked me to come with him. So that's how I got connected with Bird.
You know what you missed? You missed the connection with Monroe.
Oh yeah, because we worked in Marines.
Yeah. Oh, that's where.
Yeah, we worked in Marines.
That's right.
Yeah, and I did another stupid dumb thing. Really stupid. Clark Monroe took me almost by the hand because he had that. He always got a new Lincoln Continental every year because he had his ladies providing the funds. Okay, he took me down to Billy's apartment and introduced me to Billy Strayhorn. Billy took a liking to me, but well, I'm a dummy, really dummy.
Just young.
And those, anyway, the grapevine, some way had injected my dumb head that Billy was gay at the time, and I nixed.
Oh yeah.
I got introduced, and I never went back, which was stupid.
Right.
Totally stupid.
But you can understand it at the time, though.
But I didn't know. Okay.
Well, you didn't know. They were victim of
All
circumstances.
right.
That was a complete no-no.
Yeah.
Anyway, I blowed that. So time went by. Naturally, I'm playing with different people. I played with Ben Webster. I played with Coleman Hawkins. I played with Lester Young. I made recordings. I made recording with Coleman Hawkins. Yeah. I made recording with. I left out. Oscar Pettiford had his group. I made recordings with them. I played with Stan Getz. A lot of recordings with him. And naturally, in between that, I'm making gigs with Ray. And his
Now, when did you first meet Ray?
Oh man, you're going all the way back to the Bedford Ballroom.
Yeah, well, that's what we had.
No, even before that, the Putnam Central, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, we used to.
Oh, so you all met in the Putnam Central before the Bedford Ballroom?
Yeah, that's a long time ago now. You talking, man?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We gotta get it down so the young boys will know.
We're getting the rejection.
Putnam.
We're getting the rejection there. So.
Bedford was before the Putnam. Not by much.
Well, yeah. Well, anyway, yeah.
Before the Putnam.
That's right. Bedford Ballroom. Yeah, used to have. Clarence Berry.
Right.
Yeah. And even Steve Putnam and his Manhattan Sextet played there.
Yeah, well,
and then they had Al Lundy.
Right. Yeah, I seen Leonard got flyers with them there.
Max Roach was playing with Al Lundy. Some of that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the first time I heard that.
Dig it? Yeah. Lundy Brothers. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Alan B.T.
Right.
Yeah.
So, time went by. I met these people. I went to that. I forget the name of the place. That I think it was around 138th Street. You go there. You go down the stairs.
Uptown House.
No, this was not a house. This was where Art Tatum used to go when he finished his gig at the Three Deuces. He'd go up there to relax. And all you had to do is go to the bartender and buy Art Tatum a drink, and I would play anything you want.
Oh, yeah?
Was
Now,
it the Woodside?
somewhere uptown. Anyway, Bud Powell and me were up there up to 7 times. He would be there, I would be here, and Art Tatum would be doing his thing.
I think that was the Woodside.
Yeah.
That's
Well, whatever, wherever it was downstairs, I remember.
Jumping at the Woodside.
I remember we had to go downstairs to get to it. It was just like a basement in a brownstone house.
Right.
And they had this piano, upright piano.
Right.
It's Art Tatum, God. You shake your head, man. That's how that came about. I met Art Tatum. I was lucky enough to meet Fat Swallow once.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Naturally, I met Count and Duke, and I met even Joe Lewis. Yeah.
Okay. How'd that happen?
Gotham Hotel in Detroit. Jerry Gray.
Oh yeah.
Was it Wardell Gray's?
Right.
She introduced me to the Brown Bomber.
Joe Lewis.
Yeah.
See, they used to frequent all those clubs.
Yeah, there was a bunch of girls. Jerry Gray was in it, and they go all around, you know. So when I was working out there in Encino in Detroit, I met a whole lot of different people out there.
Well, one thing I like to do, Duke, now when you was coming up in neighborhoods that you was living in, when you said you was living down here, you made a composition in the neighborhood. Your knowledge of Brooklyn, did you ever live on a totally black area or black block when you was coming up?
Yeah, when I was living on Grand Avenue, that was not totally black. But when the family moved from Grand Avenue to Putnam Avenue, between Franklin and East, that was totally black. And then when the family moved from there to 176 Putnam Avenue, that was Franklin and Bedford, that still was totally black. And when the family moved from there to 357 Jefferson Avenue, that was definitely totally black. Totally black community.
You were right in the years when the transition was taking place. Yeah. Just about that time. Right?
Because in those years, my favorite whole actually Duke Ellington. And as far as instrumentation, Ben Webster was my favorite tenor sax. Johnny Hodges was my favorite alto sax. Cat Anderson and Tricky Sam on the trombone.
Right.
And so on, so on, so. You know, Sam Woodyard got into the band a little later.
Right.
But anyway, those, what's the name? The first guy that had the band and then took
the drummer,
Sonny Greer.
Yeah.
He was with the band and with all his gongs. And yeah.
Never fear. Greer was here.
Yeah.
But I noticed, see, when he said he lived, when he named those streets that were black, those are the streets around St. Peter Clavers, which was the first black church.
Yeah.
Catholic church.
Yeah.
So then your love for Duke was the reason why you got the title Duke. How did that come about?
Well, it came a little earlier than that. When I was living on Clifton Place, it was not far from where we lived. We lived between Willoughby and DeKalb, and then Clifton Place was like before you got to Lafayette, and then it's Clifton, and then it's Gates.
Right.
Now in Clifton Place, you had a gang called the Ramblers. In those years. Now my oldest brother, Frank, he belonged to the Ramblers. Well, I can imagine you still got to do it if you live in a black neighborhood. You got to learn how to defend yourself. So they call these Dukes.
I got it done.
Now this is before I had to start wearing eyeglasses.
Right, I'm probably.
I got pretty good at it, so I got a little respect. Then I started listening to the crystal radios.
Right.
And I would hear Duke Ellington and his orchestra. And so I would be all the time there. Duke. So that's how the nickname
Oh,
came
I see.
about.
So it really came from duking.
Yeah. First.
To Duke.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the first time I heard that. That's
Yeah.
right. I always thought it was Duke because of the piano.
No, you had to learn how to do this.
Long as
10,
I know.
11 years, 12 years, yeah.
That's right.
You had to. Well, I gotta tell you.
Yeah,
you
no, you're right. You're correct, man. I mean, you had to do that. Because if you didn't do that, I remember when you say threes, I was going to threes.
Yeah.
They was getting ready to hang a cat.
McDonald was the principal. McDonald was the principal when I was going there. And I never forget it. A friend of mine, a guy named Aubrey Jamont. he, one day, in the school, they used to call me Irving. Anyway, he said, Irving, let me show you something. He took me to the principal's office and had me bend down and peek through the keyhole. What was the principal doing? He was having a ball with one of the teachers.
What?
Come to find out, he was having a ball with most of the teachers. And the Board of Education found out about it.
Right.
And he blew his gig because of that. Yeah.
What?
Name was McDonald. Yeah, that's true.
It just goes to show you.
Yeah.
You never know what's going on, you know.
Yeah.
That's right. Sin prevails everywhere.
Yeah, well, okay. So, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, I drifted from here and there. And, like I said...
No. So, one of the early things you said, you was in that band that when it was... I saw some pictures I think Leonard had when you was in the band with... which band was that? Was that the Clarence Berry band?
I think that was Monroe's band, right?
Oh yeah, Monroe's band. You're right.
Yeah.
The Marines, yeah.
And up in Marines and Kelly Stable.
Yeah.
Right. That's about the time when Coleman Hawkins just came back from Europe.
Yeah.
After spending about 12, 15 years, and he just come back home.
And then he came out and recorded Body and Soul.
Yeah.
Not long after that.
Right.
That was his hit.
Right. Now, Duke, I want to ask you this question because, you know, we were talking about, you know, the Brooklyn guys being in the modern school and Ray was involved with that record with Coleman Hawkins.
Man, Ray was all over the place. Ray was even in Birdland with Sam Stewart and Gaylord.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
Right.
Ray was all over the place.
Right, that's good. See, you gotta know that Ray got a rich history in that actually.
Some of the things I forgot. Slim Gaylord, that's right.
So, when Ray all over the place, so Ray's older than you, huh, right?
Yeah. About 2 years, I think.
Not much.
Not a whole lot.
He got me a little bit.
But one of the things I was talking about, you were, you know, there was a little discrepancy about that, which I was glad it got cleared up, you know, that you were really Charlie Parker's first, involved in Charlie Parker's first working rhythm section. I mean,
Going out on the road with them.
Right, that's what I meant, working.
Now in New York, as we know, we had a different
type of person. But when you were going as a
out
working
on the road, yeah.
and recording, y'all made
Yeah,
recording.
yeah. It was Max Roach, Miles Davis, Tommy Potter, me, and the boss. Yeah.
Now, didn't Bird used to come to Brooklyn and y'all used to rehearse at Max's and do a lot of things like that?
I don't remember Bird having to come all the way to Brooklyn to rehearse. Anytime we had to rehearse, he rehearsed at the Three Deuces.
I did.
Yeah, but he came to Brooklyn on other occasions, socialized.
Yeah.
But I know he used to come to Max's house.
When I was hooked up with Sheila on 26th Street in the loft, he came over there to sleep a couple of times.
Now, what kind of experience was that, man, when you went out? Because I heard you mention earlier at the beginning, you didn't even realize that was Bird until Max had to nudge you.
Right, yeah. You know, Bird, when he came in, when he left Jay McShann and he went on his own, he went to Clark Monroe's Uptown House, and from the grapevine, I wasn't there, the grapevine talk was that Ben Webster went down there one night and heard Charlie Parker and got up from his seat and went outside in the street and was telling all the passersby, hey, listen, y'all better come talking about it. Listen to Charlie Parker.
Ben Webster.
Because Ben Webster had never heard of alto being played that way. Because he was used to Johnny Hodges, you know.
Right.
Not taking anything away from Johnny Hodges, because Johnny Hodges did a hell of a job.
No, I know what you're saying.
Bird just did it a different way.
Right.
It was a transition.
Yeah.
Bird made
what
a complete turnover. Just like Lester Young did with the tenor sax. It was a new sound, a new feeling, a new approach.
So, That's how that happened.
So now, when you said that you were in automotive, your musical education really came from home.
Yeah, more or less. But with the instruction from this classical teacher I had.
Right.
Was it 4 years? Then he up and died. This Mr. Cyrus.
Uh-huh.
That's very much like me. The majority of the musical was hands-on training.
Yeah.
You know, self-trained more.
Yes.
You know, not formal, not strict school training. On-the-job training.
I've had people like Bassist himself. I had people like Ellington himself. Duke Ellington used to call me Little Duke. I've had them because I got to say, show me, what is that? What's that you just did?
Right.
I got that close.
Right.
But naturally, they always so busy. They go on here and they go on there, and people are always around, so I only could get a little bit at a time.
Right.
But yeah, like Ray said, piecemeal here and there.
Right.
And those things are a whole lot more effective than in the school.
Especially if you don't have a teacher that knows how to really teach you.
Right.
You got teachers, you got plenty of teachers, even in the public schools.
Mm-hmm.
The Jews, I'm not telling no lie, this is a fact. The Jews send their kids to school on Saturday to study one particular thing, memory. So when the examination comes up, they're a little ahead of everybody, memorizing all of that, you understand? So they can pass the examination.
Right.
But when they get in the class, what they learn, it's a blank. Somebody else got to come in and tell them or teach them how to teach, relate to the...
Right.
And many of them don't even want to bother.
Right.
They rather go back and say, oh, them kids, they don't want to learn.
Right. That's which is the easiest way to do it.
And with music especially, on-the-job training is a whole lot more important than book training. It's something that comes in the heart, in the soul, that can't be taught. It's got to be learned individually, personally.
No, I agree.
You know?
Yeah, well, that's the same thing, man. Like they say, you can go to public school, you can go to high school, you can go to college, you can graduate, you can go to postgraduate school, and all you've got is book learning.
Right.
Now, you don't have any street learning, so when it comes time for you to decide on this or decide on that or do that, the book learning ain't gonna tell you the correct thing to do. You don't have that street learning.
Right. Well, it's like what you said earlier. You know, based on your practice, that's how you got across. So they used to say, practice is the best test of any theory. You can think of something all day long.
Yeah, you don't practice it.
Let me ask you a question. How do you feel about playing behind vocalists, per se?
Well, I tell you, Ray, it depends on the vocalist.
You know, I mean good vocalists, naturally.
Well, yeah, I play for them. And I played with Ella Fitzgerald, Jazz Philharmonic twice.
No, what I mean about as far as learning is concerned. Do you get
learning how to play for them?
Not how to play for them, how to play with them.
Well,
do you glean a certain amount of education, certain amount of learning from playing with singers? Because I felt that to be
I think so. Because when you play for a singer, you got to hold back and let the singer shine.
It's just the
you
point.
Just got to play the supportive role.
That's the point that I was making. There's so many pianists that I work with. I see that fallacy. I see that fault. They don't listen to the singer and they're playing by themselves. You know?
You gotta
it's
play.
Just it's a lack of cohesion. I don't know how to name it, but it's something that you learn, but the same way just by doing it.
Well, I remember an incident out in Chicago, at the Savoy Ballroom in Chicago. Charlie Parker was there, and he was on the bandstand anywhere. And this piano player was playing, I call them 10-finger chords. You understand? And Bird is trying to play, and this piano player is hitting all these 10-finger chords,
Right.
and it annoyed Bird so much so that he cut the tune in half, stopped the band, and got right on the mic. Boy, he heard this piano. I forget who the piano player was. Got on the mic and said, "Excuse me, y'all, is any piano players in there?" Because he couldn't stand it no more.
See, that
So
happens
now-
to me a whole lot,
Really?
but I don't say anything.
Well,
I can't.
I mean,
I'm scared.
when I was playing with Bird, Miles could not understand for the life of him at that time. He understands now, but this son of a bitch, boy, I'll tell you something about him. Anyway, when I was playing with Bird, I would play 3-finger, 4-finger, 5-finger chords to stay out of his way. I say plink, plank, plink, and let him go on and make his runs,
Right.
and come back and catch him here, and so and so and so.
Right.
Well, Miles is standing up there, anyway, Miles is standing up there looking down at what I'm doing, turns around and puts an article in the Downbeat magazine. Even before that, he had got at the Bird's ear and said, "Bird, why don't you get John Lewis?" Bird turned around and told, "Oh, man, I picked everybody individually for this band. Now, if you're not satisfied, you get your own band." That's
Wow.
what Bird told Miles. Yeah. Anyway, maybe a year or two later, Miles catches me in front of Birdland and walks up to me and says, "Man, you know, Duke, man, yeah, you've been playing them chords the right way, man." I'm looking at him and I say, "Yeah, okay."
You finally discovered it.
That's true. That's
To
true.
me, that's fundamental. I don't know how it happens, but that's because the piano player is listening to the instrument that's in
Right.
front.
Right.
When the
And
piano
play the
solo
support.
comes, you do what you want to do.
Yeah.
But when the instrument in front is playing,
Support it.
just support him and stay out of the way. Don't get in there. But that's something that a lot of piano players don't learn.
Don't think yet. I learned it.
But that's
Yeah,
one of
I'll
those
tell you
things
how
that you can't learn in school, too.
Yeah, you know how I learned that?
How's that?
If you listen to I'm talking about 1940s records of Duke Ellington. Well, like I told you, I had an opportunity to actually see him in the Savoy Borough.
Right.
And this cat would say, "Prink, plank." Ben Webster or whoever was doing that thing, He said, "Yeah, I'm standing there looking at this."
Right.
Basically the same thing.
Basie said, "Prink, plank," same thing. So it registered.
I did.
He lets the happenings happen where they're happening.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you put it that way.
Right. So in other words, so what you're saying then, Duke, that most of you developed your whole style of playing through practicing constantly.
And listening.
Right.
And listening. People do what they did, how they did it, and incorporating it in my own way, to my style.
Right.
I've listened to Monk play and Mint's Playhouse. I've watched Bud Powell play. I've watched Walter Bishop play. I've watched Al Haig play. I've watched what's the other guy? Figlia. Calls himself something else now. Play with Don Bias at the Onyx across the street from Greek.
Al Haig.
Al Haig, that's one name. But this George Wallington.
George Washington.
His real name is Figlia, George Figlia.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, I didn't know.
He's a Greek. Yeah, but he changed his name to Wallington. George Wallington. Anyway, I watched him play. I watched what's the guy he played with John Kirby? Anyway, I watched all them guys and listened to them and saw how they fitted and what they did.
You learn what
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
and what not to do.
Right.
That's-
Yeah.
You learn what not to do.
That's what I
That's
did.
right.
That's what I did.
And I mean, and you mastered it very well, man. Because when you think about it, I mean, like you say, your mother started introducing. Whatever happened to your brothers in playing? Did they ever go professional?
No, my oldest brother, is down in Washington, D.C. writing up a business good enough for the government to call him to do certain jobs.
I see.
Plastering, bricklaying, woodwork, so on and so on. So he's got a number of guys working under him.
Right.
Edgar went into, that was Frank down in Washington. Edgar went into his scholastic thing. He studied in Pratt Institute to be a director. Went up in Rhode Island and run into some prejudice up there and split. Come back and went to Long Island University and studied journalism. And he started writing articles for the Atomic Commission. Now he has sold his home and moved out to California. That's the latest one.
I knew Edgar pretty well. Yeah. In fact, both of them played semi-professional.
Yeah.
For a
Well,
while.
Frank used to make a few part associates, but
Yeah.
as far as like playing with a band, no.
Yeah.
No, Frank used to play some gigs with guitar and bass and drums.
Uh-huh.
Part associate stuff.
Frank was pretty
Yeah,
well
Frank had a
accomplished.
thing
Yeah.
going, you know.
Mhm.
But okay, you get older, you got. Your mom's just saying, all right, boy, what you doing? You know, you can't hang around here all your life.
Can't eat that, huh?
So,
I know themselves.
yeah,
And that's part of the game. You gotta hang in there.
time to pick it out. What you gonna do now, huh?
You know, when you think back on that kind of style, that was a good style because it keeps you thinking.
These kids, man, all they do is walk around from this high up to that high with a key around their neck because all day their mother and father's out working. They running around doing anything they want to do, no guidance. So when you try to talk to them, you look, well, motherfucker, get out now. They be that short.
That's right. You're right. Oh, you're absolutely correct. No, but you're characterizing what is being said, and that's the approach that they take on that. And that's, you know, it's important that this kind of style that we came up under is reinstituted.
At least we had respect for each other.
Right.
And that's
They don't
one
have
of
no
the
respect now.
that's one of the things you want to try to help alleviate to a certain degree, so that the kids will have some kind of serious direction
You mean with this
Instead of-
program you're getting together now? Yeah.
instead of the fly-by-night
Yeah.
pursuits that they go after now. They put their time into music, you know, they'll have a direction that means something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It means something to the heart, it means something to the soul,
Accomplishment.
and it
Right.
means something to the community too.
Yeah, cause like you know, I mean, you know, when I stop and think about it, I look at all the guys, look at you, look at Ernie, look at Cecil, look at Winton, look at Leonard, you know, look at Max, you know, hey man. When I go somewhere and I talk, I say, well, I was raised.
Don't forget Pete Brown.
Oh, well, of course, you know.
That's right.
That's
That was Cecil's teacher.
That's right. And I used to play with Pete, you know, him and Milo Mars. You know Milo
Yeah, Marlo Mars. Another one. Yeah.
D. No, you're right. See, that's what has to be developed because, I mean, you know, it'd be criminal if we allow this rich history.
To evaporate. That's
Yeah, I
right.
mean, it has to be because, I mean, because I mean, like I said earlier, man, I hear these guys be talking about, you know, the ragtime period and the jazz period and
Yeah.
the swing period. But when you start really talking about the modern school, you know, because a guy was asking me the other day, I said, well, man, every one of the Thelonious is one of the architects, Dizzy, Bird, and all of us involved in Brooklyn Cats.
Mm-hmm. All spent some time, a whole lot of time, or a little bit of time, but they all spent some time here in Brooklyn. And they've all been influenced to a certain degree by Brooklyn.
That's true.
The fellas from Brooklyn, in the early years, in the late 30s, used to get together with the fellas from Manhattan. And the accomplished ones in Brooklyn, outnumbered the ones in Manhattan at that time.
Well, it's obvious.
You know?
It's obvious to me because when you said, when you was talking about Marines and you was talking about Monroe's Uptown House, it was Coleman had to snatch a Brooklyn band
That's
to
right.
try to outdo Press.
It's mostly all Brooklyn guys. Their contributions We didn't know it at the time because we were just kids, you know. Very influential.
Yes. And I mean, that's the reason why it's up to us. I mean, we've got to make sure that it's preserved because of
Keep that history alive.
Well, man, why don't we try to play this back and just see where
Yeah.
we're at on this, you know, see what. Because, I mean, how long were we talking?
Almost an hour.
Oh, yeah. Damn, man.
That's good enough.
Willie Jones.
We'll see.
Hey, you know, when you mentioned, you know, I had a job for the post office.